And good afternoon. It's Thursday. It's 3:08 and it's time for you to be adrenalized. That's right, folks. It's time to get that blood flowing and get re-energized. Why? Because you're here. You're alive and it's time to be motivated to be your best self. I know it's not the best of days out there right now and it's raining and it's really damp and dreary. But you know what? It doesn't mean that you have to feel that same damp and dreariness in your life. Let's get stepped up. Let's get that blood pumping. Let's get energized. Let's be adrenalized. And let's start making some big decisions today that need to happen, right? If you are, you're stuck, if you're feeling indecisive, if you're not sure what's going on, and you find yourself struggling, just start to take some actions, make some decisions. Don't let indecision be your only decision. So it's time to get everything flowing. It's time to get re-energized. It's almost the weekend. I hope that you've had a great week so far. And today, you know what? My plan is to give you a great show. And I'm going to do that in just a few minutes. But here, this is the Tom Marino Show, and I am your host, Success Strategy Coach Tom Marino. I want to thank you all for tuning in. And listen, I want to hear from you. I want you to go to my website, go to tommarino.com. That's tommarino.com. And go to the radio page, leave a comment, leave a question. I want to answer your questions on this show. I want to know what pain points you're struggling with right now. I want to know what it is that you want help with, and I'll answer your questions. So go to my website, tommarino.com. That's tommarino.com. And hey, if you're on Instagram and you like to use Instagram instead, you don't like to surf the web and go to different web pages, then just follow me at Tom Marino Coaching on Instagram. That's Tom Marino Coaching. And DM me. Tell me you want to talk. Remember, I offer everyone that's listening, you get a complimentary session if you are interested in working with a coach. And remember, I work with small business owners or people who want to be small business owners. I work with executives. I work with people who are ambitious and high achieving that want to succeed in the corporate world. And even if you don't want to run your own business, that's great. Let's run somebody else's and I'll help you to get there. Okay. So if you're just tuning in, this is Tom Marino and the Tom Marino Show, and we are going to have a great show today. I am so excited about today because today we are going to speak with one of my clients who's been with me for just over 2 years. Her name is Megan Dumont, and she is a phenomenal person. I've gotten the pleasure of getting to know her over the last 2 years. And the best part of our journey is being able to watch her grow and transform and to really embrace change in her own life. So, Megan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I am so glad that you're here. How's everything going today?
It's going all right. The weather could be better, but it's all good.
It's all good, right? So, Megan, a lot of times people aren't sure. They're a little hesitant to reach out to someone for coaching. And, I remember our first conversation way back when in 2020. And there was we wound up exchanging text messages for a little bit and got you on the phone. But what was the reason that you had reached out to me originally? What was the original reason that you sought out a coach?
Yeah. So the original reason that I seeked out coaching was to grow in my professional life. I wanted professional development. I was in a job that I was not happy with, and it was somewhat of a toxic environment. And I knew I wanted to make a change, but I didn't know how. And I knew that I needed, somebody who could give me professional advice. And it was actually my roommate's idea for me to reach out and find a life coach. So I spoke to a few life coaches, and I also remember our first conversation. I was in Harlem, about ready to get on the subway, and I think you called me. And I don't know, I just felt like we clicked, and I knew that you were going to be able to help me in all the ways that I needed to be helped. And so
Awesome.
that is what made me reach out to you.
Yeah. And I, we've had such a great journey, right? And,
Yeah.
it was that need for more professional development, wanting to get ahead, really make sure that you were doing what you wanted to be doing. And, I remember we've been through a few different experiences, right, over the last 2 years, and each one has been a growing opportunity and that professional development. So the question that I have for you is have you gotten that professional development from our experience together? What have been some of your key, your key takeaways?
Absolutely. I feel like I know one of my um, key takeaways is, learning to have those professional conversations. And, you know, I have always, I used to always be very scared to, speak up for myself and really, you know, talk to my bosses about my worth. And that was something that you were definitely able to help me with. So I feel like that is one of my biggest key takeaways.
That's awesome. I love that, right? Because I
Yeah.
remember you coming to me and the confidence to have a tough conversation was not something that you were comfortable with at all.
No.
And we worked on it and we worked on it. And to hear you say that as your key takeaway makes me feel so grateful and so blessed that I was able to help you in that way. So listen, folks, this is the Tom Marino Show. And if you're just tuning in, we're speaking with one of my clients, Megan Dumont, who is this amazing, hardworking person who has just committed to the process. And she's gotten so much out of it. And Megan, what was one of the key things that you would say, in addition to having the hard conversations, what was one of the strategies or one of the tactics that you felt was like revolutionary or eye-opening for you?
Oh, that's a good question. um, gosh.
Was it helping you to phrase things properly when having difficult conversations? Was it more of you feeling more in control of that? What was the bigger piece of that?
I think it was me feeling more in control and learning that I am in charge of my career and my development. And so, throughout this whole process, I've been able to build confidence. And it's like I see it in my everyday work now, and being able to, you know, um, as little as speak up in meetings and in my one-on-one conversations. So yeah, I think that's
That's
what I
awesome.
would
No,
say.
you're 100% right. I think what I've also observed as you've grown is you've definitely taken more control of your reality. You are much more control. You're not afraid as much. You're not as timid as much to try something new, to approach something new. And I think that's one of the major things that a lot of my clients get out of their experiences is that opportunity to really take back control or see their control differently, right? It's how you position it. I think we've talked about this, and I've talked about this on the show in the last couple of weeks about the locus of control, right? If you have an external locus of control versus an internal, externally you let things impact you. Internally, you are in control all the time. And I think that
Yeah.
was one that we definitely pivoted. Would you agree that that's something that pivoted for you, was going from an external to an internal locus?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like I can feel it.
Yeah.
I feel different.
Right. You feel different. You feel when
Yeah.
you're coming from a position of power. You have control, right?
Yeah.
Control is a way of expressing power, is
Hmm.
expressing your own power. And you sound so empowered right now, like in what you've been saying. Would you say
Yeah.
that I empowered you?
Yes. Actually, that's something that you know, I was thinking of as well, is like you've empowered me to have those conversations and to have those thoughts. And so yeah.
That's awesome. So we're going to continue our conversation with Megan right after this break. So if you're listening, please stay tuned in to hear Megan's incredible story. And also, if you get a chance, go to tommarino.com and leave me a comment. And we'll talk to you right after this break.
If you feel like that's what you want to do, here come bad news talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you. Because I'm happy. Clap along.
And welcome back to the Tom Marino Show. I'm your host, success strategy coach Tom Marino. I want to welcome you to this next segment of the show. We've been talking with one of my clients, Megan Dumont, who I've been working with for just over 2 years. And Megan and I started out the conversation really discussing what was her reason for coming to coaching and the need for professional development and insight like that. But, we kind of started to pivot towards the end of our last segment on her really being more empowered. So, Megan, I want to just go a little bit more into that sense of empowerment and taking control of your reality and talk about, what that really has meant for you.
Yeah. So, I think I have always been somebody who's not really known exactly what I've wanted to do professionally. And I've always wanted to make everybody else proud of me in my life, but myself. I've always cared what other people think of me and, my bosses and everyone else, but I've never, taken the chance to like think about what I want. And so, I've always overthinked my career, and I haven't really allowed myself to, think outside the box. I've just always, thought of, this is, I'm going to go to college and then I'm going to do this and then do this. And that's something that, Tom, you've really helped me do, is think outside the box and consider other options. And I feel like that is sort of what I'm going through right now is,
Yeah.
I feel there's a pivot.
Well, before you go into that, I think that you just captivated a lot of people that are listening to this, right? How many people out there are following just what they think was prescribed for them, right? Following that routine. And so many of my clients are in that kind of place where, oh, I have to do this and then do this and then do this. And oh, if I don't do this, I'm gonna let so and so down. I'm gonna let this one down and let that one down. And we've really focused on you not letting yourself down anymore, right? Don't worry
Yeah.
about everybody else. If you're doing what you want to do and what you're empowered to do, then you need to take that on and do that. And it's the possibilities, right? Thinking outside the box. Now I remember, and this is the reason why I stopped you because I want to pivot, but I remember in our third or fourth session I said to you, here are your three top possibilities, right? And these are the things that most likely you should be doing and you should be working towards, right? And again,
Yeah.
I didn't want you to do it, but just because I said it, right? Because then you're falling back into that. I don't want to disappoint my coach now, but we came up with possibilities. And I said, explore the ones that you want to explore and figure it out. And that's where now the pivot comes in almost 2 years later, where you're going to pivot. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so, I've finally allowed myself to think outside the box and, pivot into a career that I think is much more, um, it suits my personality a lot more, and, also my goals, what I've always wanted to do. And so, that is thinking about going back to school and, you know, um, working with clients face to face and doing more medical spa type stuff. And it's just it's been so I like I feel so empowered to be able to go after these goals now.
Yeah. And it's and that's what the whole process has been about, right? So on your
Hmm.
top three, we had something in the world of the medical vicinity, right? We were talking about that, and that's where we kind of pivoted to. And now 2 years later, because you're in control, because you've done so much of the work, right? And I always say people who get the best results, they show up all the time, they do the work, and they remain open to the process. And you have done that every single step of the way. And you know what? It doesn't matter that we've been working on it for 2 years. What matters is you're here now. You're
Yeah.
here now, and you're about to embrace this huge opportunity in your life that, as you said, fits your personality, aligns with who you are. And that's what's most important. For those of you that are just tuning in, this is Tom Marino and the Tom Marino Show, and we're talking with Megan Dumont, one of my clients who's been going through this transformational journey over the last 2 years to really find what she wants to do in life. And we are here. This is the big moment that she's going to step forward and take charge of her destiny. And, I'm just so proud of all of the work that you've done. And, I think it's just great. So do you want to elaborate a little bit more, or do you want to talk a little bit more about how you got to that decision of this is what I want to do next?
Yeah, I think I'll talk more about how I got to this decision, because I I've always sort of wanted to be a nurse. That was something, ever since I was in college, but the one thing that kept me back was going to school because I am terrible at math. And so I just didn't think that I could do it. So, I was able to have conversations with different, nurses and professionals who were able to give me a little more insight into their careers. And I just realized that, there are more options or more avenues to take than just going into nursing. And, eventually down the road, maybe when I'm a little more, settled in my personal life, I can do that. But I just felt like right now it was too much time to go to nursing school when I have other things that I also want to go after. And so, Tom, you really helped me get to that conclusion as well. And so, yeah, it feels great to be able to take that step.
And I love the way you just said all of that, right? What was so great about that is that you have an idea in your head where you want to be potentially, but you have all of this other stuff that you want to accomplish. And this fits into all of that other stuff, right? And we've always talked about the importance of things fitting into your life, not you fitting into things, right? And that's part of the control that I don't even know if you realize it, but that's what you're exuding the control right now by saying, have all these other things, and this is how this fits in right now, and that's where it's going to be. And I'll eventually get to where I want to be, but right now I have everything I need to get where I want to be in the immediate. And you're also creating that sense of urgency, which is, as you know, one of the big pieces of really determining when your change is going to start is in that sense of urgency. So that was awesome the way that you said that. So great
Yeah,
job.
I
Um,
appreciate that.
yeah. So, you talked about even like some fears there, fear of going back to school, fear of taking a math class, a fear of all these things. What is one of your big fears in all of this? What is one of the things that I've helped you to overcome and see differently?
My biggest fear is failing,
Mhm.
and not being able to do something that I have, signed up to do. And so that's something, a lot of our sessions have worked on that. And we've had many conversations to come over, work through that. And I feel like now I'm not so scared about failing. It's
Mhm.
more so taking the chance. And if it doesn't work out, then, you can always pivot. You are
Right.
never stuck in one path. And I think that's also how I used to think was, you know, once I chose something, it was like, that's what I was in for. Um,
I love the idea of the pivot, right? We talk about pivoting all the time. Like just because you start one thing, and I think that's what holds a lot of people back is people are just so afraid to fail. So, okay, if you fail, we pivot, right? We just
yeah.
adjust. We've done that several times, but we've not failed. We've only made progress. We've only
hmm
seized opportunity. We've only thought outside the box. So we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we're gonna come back and talk to you after this part of the show. But if you are out there and you have a fear of failure, or you're struggling to make some changes in your life, I want to hear from you. So visit me at tommarino.com or follow me on Instagram at Tommarino Coaching, and reach out and let's get you a strategy session to start to see how we can work together and help you. All right, we'll talk to you right after this break.
Listen, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Clap along and get
And good afternoon again. It's Tom Marino, and this is the Tom Marino Show. I am your host, success strategy coach, Tom Marino. And today we have been speaking with one of my clients. Her name is Megan Dumont. She has been a client for a couple of years. And we have been talking about all of these incredible transformations that have been happening in her life and, you know, the need for professional development, how we've been working together on that and how much she's changed in taking more control over her reality and feeling empowered, and also really developing her loyalty to herself and being concentrated on and being focused on, you know, making sure she's making herself happy first before making other people happy. And we've had a great conversation. And if you're just tuning in, we're gonna talk a little bit more with Megan. And Megan, I wanted to, you know, talk about some, you know, we talk about boundaries all the time and how boundaries are so important for success and establishing control and making sure that you have everything that you need to be able to execute the things that you want to execute on. And, you know, we talked about a bunch of different boundaries in our work together. What was one of those boundaries that you found really helped you, that we put in place, that really made a difference for you?
I think I think the biggest boundary that we put in place that has helped me is, when I am not at work, I'm not working. Um, and especially when COVID hit, that was a huge struggle as well because working from home, you just, there are blurred lines
Mhm.
on when you start working, when you end working. I really struggled with boundaries at my last job. Um, and I just didn't know how to, you know, tell my boss. I always felt like he would always be able to tell me what to do and I just have to listen. But I realized that, putting boundaries in place is super healthy. And it helped me be more productive at work. It helped me to not be as stressed. I turned off notifications on my phone, which
Yep.
was a huge help because I used to have emails coming in. And so I just, I also knew that they had my personal number if they needed to get a hold of me and it was urgent.
Right. I hear that all the time, right? Well,
Yeah.
if how are people going to reach me if it's an emergency? Well, what did we do
Yeah.
before cell phones and push notifications and alerts and all of this stuff? I mean, we walk around literally with a walking time bomb in our
Yeah.
hand, right? People would pick up the phone and call you, right? And that
Yeah.
was things that I think really resonated with you, was like, oh, wait a second. If they really need to get me, they'll pick up the phone and call me.
Yeah. And usually I realize that there's really nothing that important when you're not at work. It can usually wait until the next day. And so once I had that realization, I really was all about putting this boundary into place.
Yeah.
And
Because
it's
it's a sense of busyness, right?
yeah.
It's we fall into this trap of needing to appear and look busy all of the time.
Hmm.
Otherwise, we're not doing our jobs correctly. And that
Yeah.
is such a false statement and a false way of thinking. And you were falling into that trap, and we pulled you right out of that trap, which and you
Yeah.
executed, right? When I said turn off your push notifications, you did it. And it's not like say as I do, but it's say as I do sometimes, and
Yeah.
trust that what I'm saying is actually going to work, right? And that's
Yeah.
the thing. I always tell people, be open and trusting for the process, right? So
Hmm.
this is Tom Marino and the Tom Marino Show. And if you're just tuning in, we are speaking with one of my clients, Megan Dumont, who's been a client for a couple of years. And we're having a great conversation here. So if you missed the beginning, I'm sorry. You'll have to go wait for it to appear on my YouTube channel at Tom Marino Life Coach. You could go to my YouTube channel and you can see a video of this episode. You can see a video of all my episodes at Tom Marino Life Coach on YouTube. But Megan, you know, one of the things that I always tell people about is that I'm not here just to help you with your professional life. I'm here to help you integrate it with your personal life. So what have been some of the things that, you know, that I really helped you with personally, not
Yeah.
just in professional development?
Yeah. So although I did come to you originally for professional help, I quickly found out that you could help me with my personal relationships and friendships. And so one of the biggest things that I feel like, have talked about and worked on is dating.
Mhm.
Because I feel like, everybody knows this dating in the city is especially not easy. And, I Tom was able to give me just so many different tools and ways to go about dating. I feel like a lot of it was, building confidence in myself and, also just not being scared to speak up and, ask different questions and just being empowered to, have those conversations. So, it I feel like a lot of our conversations now are more personal, as well as professional, but definitely personal as well.
Yeah, and that's what it's about, right? Because you're the same person professionally and personally, right?
Mhm.
And that's what I
Yeah,
tell people all the time. You cannot say, I always say work-life balance is a myth, right? Work-life balance doesn't exist because it pits itself against each other, and it doesn't make sense to me, right? It's about that life integration, about that life harmony that we're talking about and trying to achieve. And as you gained confidence in your professional life, you gained a ton of confidence in your personal life, right? I always
yeah,
say, I feel like I'm speaking to a different Megan because she just exudes this confidence that 2.5 years ago, I don't know that I saw. And
yeah,
that's what the beauty of this process is about. So, what
yeah.
would you say about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I one of the reasons why I did come to you was to build more confidence. And that is something that, like I said earlier, I feel different.
Yeah,
Um, and, just it's been a great journey being able to, have personal and professional growth. And, it's like a lot of things that you struggle with in your professional life, you're also going to struggle in your personal life because you are the
absolutely.
same person. And so, working on one will help you with the other. And yeah,
That's
there's
so
just been a
true.
lot of eye-opening things for me.
Absolutely. What would you say to someone who is not sure about investing in a coach? What would you tell that person from your experience?
Yeah, I mean, I would tell them that it is definitely worth it. I think that there are so many things that we've talked about and so many um, realizations that I had that I didn't even know I needed help with. And it's once you start digging into yourself and having these conversations, you find more to work on and more ways to improve. And I mean, I've come so much further than I thought I would. I came to you for one thing and I've grown in so many other ways. So, I would tell people it's worth the money. I tell all my friends to get a life coach. I just think that it is so important to have somebody to, also keep you accountable as well.
Yeah, I love that. And thank you for that because it really is true. Once you start digging, you don't realize how many things that we could work on and really help you to integrate yourself more. Megan,
Mhm.
I so appreciate you being on here today and sharing yourself with everybody that's listening and sharing with everybody who will be watching this. And I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you. So thank you for being on the show today.
Yeah, of
And
course.
it's been
Thank you
great.
for having me.
Absolutely. Listen, I'm just so thrilled that you were so agreeable because I don't know if Megan 2.5 years ago would have been so agreeable if I had asked her.
No,
I'd have been like,
absolutely not.
no, I'm not sure. But now you're like you're a superstar, and that makes me feel good. So thank you so much for
Yeah,
all of the hard work and all of the trust that you've put into this process and really allowed to happen. So thank you for
yeah,
everything you've done. So
yeah. Well, thank you for everything.
you're welcome. Listen, and our journey continues, right? So that's what's important. So, folks, you've heard Megan now, and you've heard her story, and you've heard about all of the benefits that coaching, especially coaching with me, has brought her. Do something for yourself if you're struggling. Reach out to a coach. It doesn't have to be me, but reach out to someone and get the help that you and the support and the accountability that you are maybe looking for or that you don't even realize you're looking for. So this is Tom Marino, and we're going to be back after this commercial break, and I'll talk to you then. And welcome back to the Tom Marino Show. I am your host, Tom Marino. Thank you for tuning back in. And wow, this has been a great day. Even though it's been a dreary day outside, it has been a great day here in the studio. Speaking with Megan during earlier in this show about her experience with coaching, it just rejuvenates me. It reinvigorates me as a coach because she validates everything that I'm trying to do with my coaching and my coaching program is to really help people become the best versions of themselves. And Megan has definitely done that. And you heard her testimony. It's really amazing the transformation that's taken place. And I want people out there right now that are struggling. And I know there's a lot of you out there struggling. I know there's a lot of people out there really struggling to get things done. I won't use an expletive, but get stuff done. You could fill in the blank. But, you know, people are struggling to get stuff done because they're overwhelmed, they're stressed out, they're not sure of the possibilities, and they don't know where to start. And if that's you, if you're struggling with figuring out what possibilities exist for you, if you're trying to figure out what the next step for you is forward, and you're not sure about how to go about it, give me a call. Give me a call. Reach out to me on my website. You can call me at 516-588-0750. You could also text to that number, 516-588-0750. And you can, fill out a contact form on my website. You can Instagram, direct message me. There are so many ways to reach out to me that I make myself available to you. And that's one of the benefits of having a coach is the accessibility that I offer. I tell all of my clients I am available 18/7 because, hey, I need to sleep too, right? So I'm available 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you need something or you're working on something or you're struggling through something, it's in those moments when you're struggling. It's in those moments when you feel the most stuck, the most frustrated, the most angry, the most disappointed. It's in those moments where change is going to happen, and change will happen for you. So I want to help you through that change in those moments. I want you to know that I'm here for you. So when you become a client of mine, you are a client who has access to me 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. I use an app called Voxer, and it's really cool because it has that walkie-talkie sound when you go to make a audio recording, a voice recording, and it's really cool. And people reach out to me on that all day long, and we're problem solving all day long. So if you're struggling to get things done, if you're struggling to figure out what's next, give me a call. Sign up for a complimentary session with me. Give me 30 minutes and I guarantee you I will change your life in some way. That's a guarantee. I have so many 30-minute conversations with people where they walk away saying, "Oh, I never thought about it that way." Well, you know what? If you need that kind of moment, an aha kind of moment, like, "Oh, I never thought about it that way," and that can begin this cataclysmic change in your life, then just take that 30 minutes to talk with me. It's free. It is totally free. So if you're just tuning in, this is Tom Marino and the Tom Marino Show. And I want to wrap up today's show with a few strategies that I've been speaking about in helping people to get stuff done. And, you've heard me say this before, but I'm going to say it again. Stop seeking perfection. Focus on making progress. We spend way too much time trying to make things perfect. And when you try to make things perfect, that actually becomes a belief that it has to be perfect. And that belief turns into a belief that holds you back. It becomes a way of thinking that holds you back. So stop seeking perfection. We are not perfect. No one is perfect. So stop trying to be perfect. Go for progress. Make progress, right? Set boundaries and expectations. I cannot enforce this enough. Megan talked about boundaries and how she shut off her phone when she was working, when she was not supposed to be working. We got to have those kind of boundaries. When we need time for ourselves and we need to take the time for ourselves, we need to put the boundaries in place to make that happen. But we also need expectations to reinforce those boundaries. Expectations become the reinforcement to every boundary. So when you put up a push notification or you tell your family you're going to go work out for 30 minutes, and you have to set the expectation. It says, do not bother me for that 30 minutes. I need the time for myself. Set that expectation, which brings me to the next point. Eliminate and remove distractions. Distractions are the things that get in the way of you getting stuff done for yourself. Remove those distractions. Put on noise canceling headphones so you don't hear that sound or those things happening around you when you're working out. Put on loud music, whatever it is that you can help eliminate a distraction so that you can focus on the work that you need to be getting done, then do it. Some people work better with distraction. So if that works for you, then do it. But most people struggle with distraction. So you have to think about, is it just white noise in the background? Or do you actually need to put noise canceling headphones on so you hear nothing, right? Remove distractions and you'll get stuff done, but you'll also get a little bit clearer in your train of thought. You'll hear your thoughts better when you're not distracted. And then, of course, make specific goals. Focus on making very specific goals for yourself. I talk about this all the time. Create the plan, create the action steps, make specific goals, and get stuff done, people. My entire career, I have this reputation of, if you need something done, go to Tom Marino because he's going to get it done. He gets stuff done. That's a reputation that I still hold to this day. If you need something done, he'll help you get it done. So go talk to him, because I make a plan. Take the action steps. I think it through and I start moving. I don't let perfection get in the way anymore. I used to. But is it good enough? That's all that matters, that it's good enough. The other thing that's really important is get out of your own way. Sometimes our biggest issue is ourselves. Get out of your own way. It's not about you all of the time. It's not about you. That's something that people struggle to figure out. They let things get personal, they let things get emotional, and they take it all in and they consume, and then they have to process the emotional pieces. They have to consume the personal pieces. And that in and of itself becomes a distraction to what you're really supposed to be focusing on. So recognize sometimes that when you're getting upset with something that someone's asking you and you're making it personal or you're getting emotional about it, you have to say, it's not about me. This is going to get in the way of me getting something done. It's not about me, because guess what, folks? It's not about you. The other thing is you got to make time to rest, to exercise, and to have fun. If you're struggling to get things done, I'm going to tell you something. Go watch a movie. Go do something that's mindless or brainless. Go out there and exercise. Go for a walk. Go do something that's going to bring you some enjoyment. Because if you're experiencing something with enjoyment, you can think more clearly. So take the time to rest. Take the time to exercise. Take the time to have some fun. Because when you take the time to do those things, you rejuvenate yourself. You reinvigorate yourself. Hey, you adrenalize yourself. And when you're adrenalized, you can make decisive decisions with decisive action. And that's what it's all about. And frankly, just stop overthinking it and just do it. Stop overthinking and just do it. Nike's logo, Nike's motto of just do it is probably one of the greatest taglines of all time to help people push forward. Because you know what? That's when you make progress. That's when you're happy with your life. That's when things make sense. So just do it. All right. I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out to me again, Tom Marino Coaching on Instagram, tommarino.com on the web, 516-588-0750. That's 516-588-0750. You can text me at that number. And listen, folks, I'm here for you. So until next week, have a great weekend and choose your adrenalized life.